Horrid humidity is expected to be the talk of the town this weekend. KIMT Stormtrack 3 meteorologist Hunter Donahoe discusses the difference between two moisture-related measurements in this week's Ask Away.
For this week's Ask Away, we're talking about relative humidity and dew point and what is the difference between them. Dew point is going to be something we watch very closely this weekend. But what do each of these actually mean and what are they used for? Relative humidity is defined as the amount of moisture in the atmosphere relative to the temperature. That's why it's given in a percentage. 15–20% relative humidity is perfect for fire production, and that is something we look at closely when we try to predict fire weather. Building materials, homes, things like that, we rely on humidifiers and dehumidifiers to control that relative humidity within those buildings. Dew point is the measure of moisture in our atmosphere, the content of it. It's used to judge human comfort. That's why it's given in a temperature. And when that temperature and dew point are close together, that's when we start to talk about morning fog. That is the potential for that to develop in the morning. So what is relative humidity? With a given temperature, 65 degrees, and a dew point stagnant at 65. When the two are close together and the same, that's 100% relative humidity. As temperature increases, air expands, but we keep the dew point at the same level. You notice that decrease in relative humidity with a temperature of 78. Going even further, 92 degrees, increasing even more, expanding the air even more. Constant dew point at 65, that lowers our relative humidity even more to 41%. Switching gears to dew point, something we'll track closely this weekend. 50s are that comfortable level. Once we get above 60, that's when we start to become more humid. 70, it's muggy. Mid to upper 70s, it is oppressive. It is terrible to be outside. That maximum AC is being used. This level is likely what we're going to be seeing this weekend. So that is why you should be staying inside or trying to stay as cool as possible and as hydrated as possible. Well, you can track that easily on the KIMT weather app to see what the dew point is as we go throughout this weekend. There's relative humidity and dew point. If you have any other weather or science-related question, please send it in to weather@kimt.com, and I'll be answering more questions later on next week.